here. Bear with me, this may be a fairly long video, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. So, for those of you that have been part of my channel since the beginning, y'all know I've been working on what I like to call my last-ditch ammunition project. Okay, this is going to be part 2, whereas part 1 was about lubing and resizing cast projectiles. Okay, so this is actually in this stage of the last-ditch ammunition project. I will show you how to basically make your ammunition where the only thing you need to purchase is your gunpowder. Okay. Now some of y'all may be wondering, Red, how is that possible? Because what about primers? So we're in November of 2020. There's an ammunition shortage, and most of y'all that reload know that there is a shortage of primers for a small pistol and small rifle, and large rifle and large pistol is probably next, and you may even have a tough time finding large pistol too. But I'm going to show you how to reuse and recycle your old primers. Okay, it is actually possible. It is quite safe. Some of y'all might be watching this and think, well, Red, that sounds super sketchy, but I promise you it is not. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your spent brass with the spent primer in it, and you're going to press that primer out and don't lose it. You're going to take it out and set it aside. So of course you're going to want to clean your brass. I always recommend cleaning your brass to the best of your ability. Anyways, you're going to take that primer, and right now we're working on 9mm, but you're going to take that primer, and if you have a set of needle nose channel locks, it's going to be the best. And you're going to put that primer in there. Okay, and then you're going to need some kind of wedging tool. I don't necessarily recommend a knife. If you have a hook tool or something like that, it'd be better. But I use a knife, and I am careful. But basically, you're going to wedge that in there, and you're going to take the anvil out. And I will include a picture of what an anvil looks like. It's not the one a blacksmith uses. But anyways, you're gonna take that anvil out. You're gonna set it aside, and then you're gonna take just a small flathead screwdriver or a pick or something, and you're gonna clean that primer out to the best of your ability. Get all the crap and junk out of there. All right. Then you're gonna set that primer to the side. All right. Then your next step is you're gonna take just cap gun rolls, and you're gonna just start cutting them all out. And you can use scissors, you can use box cutter. I just use this little razor knife here, and you're just going to slowly but surely just cut those little caps out. This is the most tedious part. It's frustrating. It's extremely time consuming, but you can absolutely do it. I'm dumber than a bag of hammers, and I managed to do it. But you're going to cut those out, and then you're still not done. You're going to need to separate the tissue side from the cardboard side. Okay, the cardboard side is trash, you can throw that away, whatever, but you're gonna need the tissue side with the actual compressed powder in it. You're gonna take 3 of those. It doesn't really matter which way that they face, but you're gonna take 3 of those, and you're gonna put it into your primer cup. Okay, now you're gonna wait to do this after you've taken your primer cup and you've used a punch, and you're going to just take a hard surface, and I have better equipment than this, but I'm showing you just how easy it is. But basically you're going to take, you can take like a hacksaw blade, for example, set it on a center block, and tap it a few times with a heavy hammer, and you're going to still have a dimple on the back side, and I'll include more pictures of this, but on the inside it will be flat. So you're going to take your separated tissue side of your paper caps, and you're going to take 3 of those, you're going to put them in there, and then you're going to take your anvil pointy side down and put that in there. And then what you can do is you can just take your channel locks again just to hold it, and you can take needle nose pliers, and you're going to softly just set that anvil back in place. You don't want to hit it hard. You don't want to be banging on stuff because you do have 3 layers of cap gun caps in there, and if it pops in your hand, it's probably not going to feel very good. I wouldn't know because it hasn't happened to me yet. Anyways, after that, you have a fully reconditioned, recycled primer that will work. So you're going to take that and you're going to load it. Whether or not you have a hand priming tool or you use the one on your press or whatever you do, you're just going to put them in there just like normal commercial primers. You're going to load it into, you could use the same spent round that you took the primer out of. All right. And the next step is using your pistol powder of choice. Mine is Hodgkin HP38. And I like this just because it has a chart on the front. But of course this chart is assuming you're using commercial primers and commercial projectiles. And we're doing neither of those things. Okay. So this specifies for 9mm Luger use 5.1 grains. Well, we're not going to do that, and I'll tell you why. So first off, when you're using cast projectiles like we're doing, you're going to want to back that grain off just a fraction. Okay. On top of that, with these cap gun caps, we're not exactly sure 100% how hot those are. Okay, it may be a little hotter than a commercially available primers, so we're going to want to back it off just a little bit more. What I've been using, what I've been successful with so far is 4.6 grains. Okay, so you're going to put that in there, and then you're going to take your cast projectile. And the way that I make my cast projectiles is I use range scrap and melt that down. And whenever I use wheel weights, I don't want to use just wheel weights. I always want to add at least a third. So 2 parts wheel weights, 1 part range scrap. Okay, range scrap lead, I should say. That way I know it has approximately the correct amount of lead alloy in it. And when I'm casting, and this is just a Lee mold right here, when I'm casting, I always drop it into cool water. That way it just hardens it a little bit more. Okay, but anyways, you're going to take that projectile, and whether you want to do the powder coating method, I don't use the powder coating method. What I use is the homemade lube method, and I do have a video on how to do that. But just the short of it is basically you take 1 pound of unscented candle wax, you take half a container of Vaseline, and then you take 1 capful of STP oil treatment. You mix it all together in a pan over heat until it's all melted together, and then you can just line your projectiles up in a baking pan like this, and you're going to pour that hot lube mix in there all the way until it's past the lube rings on the projectile. And then you're just going to let it sit, cool. And then you can just sit there and punch it out, just like I've done here. Just sit there and just punch them out with your thumb. And then you're going to want to run it through your sizing die. Okay, my sizing die is a Lee. It works great. And anyways, so you're going to do that, and after that, then you're going to press it into your primed shell. And whenever I do that, I always make sure that I always mark it. So for those of you that have watched my homemade buckshot video, anytime I ever do any kind of homemade do-it-yourself stuff with ammunition, I always mark it. That way I know that what I'm putting into my gun is not commercial at all, and I can always warn anybody else that may be using the ammunition that I've made that it's not commercial ammunition. But anyways, I'll include a video of me actually shooting these. I have 7 projectiles here, and this right here is just a commercially produced 9mm round, just for comparison. But I'll show you that this will work. Thanks. So first, this is my Glock 17, and I have all 7 of those rounds that I made in there. You can see that by the marks I put on the back and the lead nose. I'm going to put the commercial round in first. We'll see how it does. That's an empty mag. Apologies for the editing on those shots. The first one fired no problem, and then the second one didn't want to feed right. But then it did shoot. The third one I couldn't get it to feed right at all, and that's not the primer's fault. That's just me sucking at using my reloading press. But anyways, the last 4 fired no problem. So thank you all for watching my video. If you like my content, please hit that like. If you could subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, remember to ring the bell. If you have any further questions, absolutely drop them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thanks.